Exactly. And it's probably is about 5.8, and now it's really 5.6, but it did go down.
That's right, and that's the important thing.
Yeah, but the point is that the bad news we took was also a statistical fluke, and now we're simply correcting it.
I went through this yesterday with Schultz at length, and that I think is a fact. I don't think it ever went as high as they said it.
That's right. All right, good.
I'll take care of it, sir. Thank you.
Please.
Mrs. Nixon, please.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Hi, Dick.
Pat, I wondered if you'd take everything. I didn't get the check. I didn't realize they were going to give us a gift. Did we give them anything?
No, but the minute I got upstairs, I thought we'd send a Boehm bird.
You send them a bird, but yeah, for the two or about?
Well, I don't know what we have of yours that we could send. We don't have anything around here, and apparently the State Department is playing this as if it isn't a state visit.
Well, it doesn't make any difference. Give them a Boehm bird.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you another thing. Those little trinkets for the kids are good things to send them. You know?
Yeah, but their children are grown.
What the hell? Give them cufflinks. They love them.
Mm-hmm.
Just let Steve Bull make up. Just get the names of the children. He can make up.
Well, she's leaving, you know.
Yeah, well, he could do it this afternoon, though, if you want. But anyway, we can mail it. Mail it. We can have they send it to the ambassador and have him take them by.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice thought. Okay.
Okay. Yes, please.
Woods, please.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Rose.
Yes, sir.
I'm sending you over a very rough draft of some remarks for tomorrow night. I'd like you to run it off, and then I'm going to get it over to Andrews and have him start working on it. And you recall the speech I made at the JC's when I finished with the anecdote about John Brown?
Yes.
Yeah. If you would pick up that anecdote and just put it on at the end.
All right.
And that'll be the ending of the speech. Fair enough?
Sure.
Okay, it's just one tape, and it'll bring it right over.
All right, fine.
Yes, please.
Andrews, please. John Andrews in Ray Price's office.
Thank you, sir.
Hello.
Mr. Andrews, Mr. President.
Hello.
Sir, Mr. President.
Yeah. I have dictated some sort of a rough draft of a somewhat different approach. It picks up some of your stuff, but puts it in a different context in terms of I want to get a little bit more on the peace issue in it, and also picks up some other lines that I've used in the past, and she'll have it done in about a half hour. I would like for you to take it and then see what you get down in terms of time. Now, I understand that I have 12 minutes, so we're really talking about 1,500 words, 14 to 1,500 words, so it doesn't have to be that long, but
yes, sir.
It can't be over 1,500. And this is not something I want it left pretty much in the same tempo and so forth as it is, because it fit my style.
But it essentially needs to be smoothed out and polished.
Well, there needs smoothing and polishing, and you may find some of the other material that you've used during Sapphire's draft a quote or two that's good. Oh, one thing that I want to do, I like to, what I am a great believer in is that when you have something good, a good line, it should be repeated exactly as it had been said. You know, we always assume, well, gee, this is news for the press, but we're not going to put this out to the press, say this is just going to be done for the television audience. Yes. That's why I may decide to pick up the anecdote that I used for the close that I used at the JC's.
John Brown?
Yes, which I think could well fit the beautiful country thing, you know.
Exactly.
But you can see, and I'm also picking up something that this child, an 18-year-old valedictorian at a high school, made a little talk, and I'm picking up her quote, and I'm using your business about the unfinished picture.
I thought that was an interesting point.
Well, I think it's the idea that each of us can do it. It's something that can do. But I think you can see how the unfinished picture would work with the close of the John Brown anecdote, because you remember the way I closed it. I said that at a time when that is we can be we're in America, that this is a beautiful country and we all have the opportunity to make it more beautiful, or something like that, you know, or something like that.
Right.
Oh, one other quote that I did not get in that I want you to find. I think it was used I think I used it in the first State of the Union, where I said, it's a very good one, Ray Price developed, and I want to use exactly as it is, where I talk about opportunity, where we cannot realize the American dream until each American has a chance to realize it in his own life. Yeah, something like that. Just find that quote and work it in someplace.
Sir.
Because I think it's a pretty good one. You see, the thing about that is that generally speaking, in the whole speechwriting deal, I know that we always have a tendency to think we've got to have something new, and we can't repeat anything for fear the press has heard it before. We're not talking to the press, you see. When you're talking on television, you're just talking to the country. They haven't heard it before, and if they have, they've forgotten it. You see what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And if you've got it,
and if it works, you might as well use it again.
If you've got a good line, you've got to keep repeating it so that people will, it'll finally get it in their consciousness. You've got to drum it in.
Right.
You don't just, but you'll find this, and that you'll see what I'm trying to get at when it comes over. So if you would work on that, now let's see, what time is it now? 5:30?
Yes, sir.
Maybe I'll be here. Say we'll 5:36. Maybe by 8:30. Shall we say 8:30? About 9 o'clock. You'll get it by 6.
Mm-hmm.
And could you have something about 9?
Yes, sir. I certainly can.
3 hours. I don't think it's. You may have it sooner than that, but you'll see what I'm trying to get at, and then we can polish and change around and so forth and so on. Because I'm going to deliver it. I'm going to read and to a certain extent ad lib a bit, but I mean I will.
You will be using the notes, the text.
Well, I'll be using the text, and I may just read the text, but since it will be in my own lingo to a certain extent, I won't have to look at it too much. You see what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So that's what I'm thinking of presently, rather than. And I was even thinking of that, or just going on and winging it. Except the time factor is so tight tonight that I'm not sure that I want to bother.
Yes.
Trying to get it down to 12 minutes.
Well,
I'm really not interested too much in saying anything. The only real news out of this, I declare, is in the prologue, which says I declare this to be the bicentennial era.
Yes, sir.
And so what is differing in here is our goals for the era, where I talk about peace first. Our first goal is peace, and then we've got to lead in order to provide it, and then I'm not, and then of course you talk about the goals at home, and in the material sense, and then the fact that my old theme that isn't enough. You got to have a little spirit too, and that the spirit needs to be yak, a little of that.
Yes, sir.
And I come on with this child, and so forth. Fair enough.
Well, I'll have something back to you at 9 then, and ready to work it over further.
I'll have Rose run this off. As I say, this is very rough because I've been a little busy today, and I want to just. I think maybe you can take it and see what you can do with it, but leave it pretty much in the. As I say, try to get it in the same tempo and so forth, and the same organization, because the organization to me is important. But if some of it doesn't fit, I so indicate. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And if you want to add something, if you think of something look through all the stuff you've got, including the stuff you did on the American Spirit things. I read through that, and you may find a line or two there that you'd prefer over what we've got. And you can, change around a little. All right?
Yes, sir. And I'll have it back to you at 9 then.
Thank you. Bye.
Yes, please.
Mrs. Nixon, please.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Hi, Dick.
Oh, I got freed up so that I can be back, because I've got them working on some drafts now that they won't be ready till around 9 o'clock, so I'm free till about 9 o'clock, okay?
Okay.
Now, you wouldn't want to come on in. hear this conversation.
Yes,
Would
sir.
you get me Mr. Gerald Ford, please? Congressman Ford?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Mr. President, I found that Congressman Ford is on the course at Burning Tree.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want us to get word to him?
No, he can. No, but you tell him that. Well, I'll have Mr. Haldeman will call. I won't be able to call him. We'll call him when he comes. Just let him know that I have a message for him that Mr. Haldeman will give him.
Fine.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
No, let me get it.
Yes, please.
Timmons.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Mr. Timmons.
Bill.
Hello, Mr. President.
Get your congressional directory out, and you got one handy there?
Yes, sir.
Look at the committee, ICORD's committee, and give me the Republicans on it.
Okay.
He's busy with some other things too.
I know it's John Ashbrook is on there.
Oh, Ashbrook on it?
Yeah, he's the ranking member.
He's a ranking man? Well,
Roger Zion is on it.
He's all right.
Fletcher Thompson of Georgia.
Fletcher Thompson?
And your Congressman, John Smits.
Oh, boy. Virtue. John Smits, good.
They're the four.
Now, who are the Democrats?
It's ICORD, of course, and then Claude Pepper.
Ooh. Go ahead.
Ed Edwards of Louisiana.
Good.
Richardson Pryor of North Carolina.
Don't know him.
And our friend Father Drynan of Massachusetts.
Yeah. Well, now, how would that committee be, you think, on, to conduct an investigation of this conspiracy? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Far better than having these people indicted and so forth is really to call them before a committee and say, no, look, did you do this or that or the other thing, you know?
Yeah.
But it's going to require... What kind of a staff man do they have?
They have a good guy. Don Sanders is...
Do you know him?
I've met him. Yes, he's chief counsel.
Is he tough?
My impression is that he is tough. We haven't dealt with that committee much because we haven't much legislation, but my impression is that he's real tough and a good man.
Do you think ICORD would be... Now, he's running for governor, I understand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Don't you think he ought to be willing to take a thing like this?
I would think so. Be some headlines for him.
Headlines? Good God, it'd make him a national figure. And he can have these hearings and go right after this thing.
I think it...
You've got... will Ashbrook work, or is he just lazy?
My impression he's pretty lazy, frankly.
He's lazy. Well,
he hasn't done much.
Fletcher Thompson would work, wouldn't he?
Fletcher'd be great because he wants to run for the Senate down there.
Fletcher wants to run for the Senate?
Sure. He and Bo may square off against each other.
Is Fletcher he and who?
Bo Calloway.
Yeah. Is Fletcher a lawyer?
Don't know. Mm-hmm. Don't know. He's a businessman, but
I'll have.
You want me to set that in motion, or?
Well, why don't you? Yeah. Why don't you do a little sniffing around with something to see whether they'd like to. Well, look. First of all, it can't be from me, of course.
Sure.
But what I'm getting at is, it would seem to me that this is an opportunity for that committee to resuscitate itself. You know what I mean? It can become a very valuable committee now. They just call them up there. And you see, we get Halperin, Gelb, we have lots of names. There's a Cook over in the NSC stuff. Hell yes, we'll call them up. Give them lie detector tests. They'd have a ball. What do you think?
I think it's a great idea. I talked to Chuck Colson just briefly about this a week or so ago. I think it's tremendous. In the Senate, on the Government Operations Committee, there's a subcommittee on national security and international operations.
Who's that?
It's chaired by Scoop Jackson.
Yeah, but do you think Scoop would be willing to go?
I doubt it. I just don't know.
I don't think he would. I wouldn't get
with the Senate.
ICORD's people should step in and preempt this field. Now, let me say this. I have told Ford is, that Haldeman will call him, but I want you to call him and say, he's out at Burning Tree.
Yeah, I already called him once out there.
Yeah, and so in doing this, why don't you work with, you call Ford and tell him what we have and see whether Ford likes the idea.
All right.
And then be in touch with, that Colson and Haldeman and Ehrlichman are all working. But over the weekend, and naturally they won't be doing anything over the weekend, but we ought to get this in motion. Because this could be one tremendous... You see, if this committee, they'd have the cooperation of the FBI, they can have the cooperation of the Mel Laird, they can have the cooperation of everybody we can find, you see.
Yeah.
And it's distinguished from an I fought the his case,
Sure.
They were all against me.
Yeah.
So this is a different ball.
Right.
And I tell you, I'd love to be on that committee now. God darn.
Those guys will just zoom right up. Well, Fletcher will just love it because he's trying to get a few headlines, too, and Schmitz would be hard on him. And Zion, he's been going over to Paris, off and on. He's got a real interest in this stuff, and a good man. And John's heart's in the right place. He's just lazy.
Well, he make good speeches.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, Mr. President.
Yes, please.
Mr. John Andrews in Price's office, please.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Hello.
John Andrews.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, Mr. President.
She's finished that roughed up. There are several things that are not quite clear that you can see that.
Yes, I've just looked through the copy just now.
And I don't think you got the last page yet, which with the anecdote on it.
The John Brown. No, she said she'd bring that over.
She's bringing it right now. Now, I think probably if you could take it now. When do you think you could have something you'd want me to see? Because I can be available anytime.
Well, I think that 9 o'clock at the very latest, because it.
Say 8:30.
Looking through it quite quickly, it's just a matter of smoothing, not changing
smoothing
very
and
much.
organizing better and so forth. But and putting in a couple of other things, and maybe it isn't long enough quite. But so shall we say 8:30 then? Let's shoot
I'll
for
aim for 8:30. Yes, sir.
And I'll be back here.
Thank
Fine,
you,
at
sir.
the EOB.
All right.
Hello? Yes, sir, Mr. President. What's the progress report? Well, I have Haldeman and Schultz on a conference call on the other line.
Good.
And,
But I'm not fooling this time.
right?
I've had it, and I don't want any crap about this. You understand?
Yes, sir.
I want Schultz to understand this. I told Hodgson, he understands. And I'm not going to take any nonsense.
Right.
Now, don't let Schultz wiggle off the hook this time. I told him before, and didn't he realize this is a horrible story?
Yes, he does. Yeah, on balance, Bob Haldeman was just making the point
That we got a good play. I don't give a shit about that.
Right.
They screwed us on the story.
the story, the press release is pretty lousy, and the quote about statistical.
That's right. All right, he's to take a polygraph on it tomorrow. A polygraph. Is that clear? Tell Haldeman he's to take a polygraph on that tomorrow. Did he put out that quote? And he's to take a polygraph. If he did it, he's out of the government. Clear enough? Now, what the hell does Schultz think? What does he want to do? Just be a nice guy again and get screwed again?
No, I don't think
Doesn't he realize what the Christ we're doing here or not?
Oh, he does.
I'm getting goddamn tired of it.
And he's upset about it, and he wants to fix it, and he's mad that they didn't clear it with him in advance, because he would have prevented this from happening. And as I say, Bob makes
I gave that lecture to these economists the other day. None of them paid any attention. They've all screwed it up since then. And I am not going to have it anymore. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Now you get back to Schultz and tell him I'm pissed off, goddamn mad, and tell Haldeman. Don't tell Haldeman to call me. I don't want Schultz to call me. You're handling this. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
I'll be in the office at 6:30. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Now get going.
We're working on it. Yes, sir.
Colson, please.
Thank you.
Chuck?
Yes, sir.
The most important thing is, and this is a must, I will not take no for an answer on it. And then he's to be given a polygraph. Now, if he refuses to take the polygraph, he's out. If he takes it and it lies, he's out. Is that clear? Now, can't we do something? I'm not going to take no for an answer on this. I know Schultz is trying to wiggle off the hook, and so was Hodgson when I talked to him, but I'm not going to take no for an answer on this. And I want to raise hell about this, Chuck.
Well, we have to get these guys in line.
We
I
can't.
agree with that.
How the hell can you do it otherwise?
You have to.
I mean, these guys, what the Christ is the matter with Schultz? Has he got any guts?
No, he wants to be sure he has all the facts. That's
all right. I got the facts. I heard what they said. I read the release. The same with Hodgson. No, and I talked to Hodgson myself. He knows how I feel. There's the thing. Don't you agree? We have no reason not to, haven't we? He was ordered not to do this. If he did it, he could say, no, were you willing to take a polygraph on it? He says, no, you're out. If he says, yes, fine, take it. Fair enough?
Yes, sir.
You see anything wrong with that?
No, I don't. I think,
all right.
He's a civil service employee.
I understand that, but nevertheless, we could transfer him from one civil service job to another.
We will.
That's my point. I'm not going to have it anymore.
I think George...
He is an all-out left-wing son of a bitch who's again against us for 20 years. George knows this. I've told George this.
No doubt about it.
George doesn't believe it. But it is true.
Oh, I think he believes it tonight. Yeah. Okay. I think he believes it tonight. He's on his way back here. Okay. We'll get him to handle it throughout.
I believe... See, Chuck, I gave this order 2 days ago.
Yes, sir.
And now, if on this test we screw it up, what do you think it's going to do to John Connolly's morale? See my point? What's it going to do to others that are going to give us the business? We have got, don't you agree, we've got to be tough on this one?
Mr. President, I told you the best thing you've done was the Monday meeting with the economists and the cabinet.
That was talk.
But
now,
these people have got to know who's running the government.
That's right. Now, we're running the government now. On everybody who had the information or to take polygraphs tomorrow. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
And let them leak it. I don't care. I don't tell George, he says it's suppression. It's bullshit. I want to know who did this. God damn it, I want to find out. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's go.
We'll do it. Yes, sir, Mr. President.
Please. Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please. Colson, please.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Mr. President, they say that Mr. Colson's with Mr. Schultz and moved down to your office.
All right, fine.
All right, sir? There's
Congressman Harold Donahue.
Thank you,
please.
sir.
He's at the Massachusetts General Hospital.
At what hospital, sir?
Massachusetts General Hospital. That's probably in Boston.
Thank you, sir. Please.
I have a couple other calls. To Wellington T. Mara.
Wellington.
Mara. He's the president of the New York Giants. That's M-A-R-A. Wellington Mara. That's in New York City.
And who's he with, sir?
The New York Giants football team. M-A-R-A. Wellington Mara. And let's see here. I have another one. Mr. Frank Carlucci. He's a, OEO.
Yes, sir.
And John W. Mulcahy. Now, that's not the old man. That's his son. There's I think you have a number for him.
John who?
Mulcahy. M-U-L-C.
Sir.
Yeah. Now, not the father.
Junior.
This is John Jack W. Mulcahy.
All right.
Okay? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello.
Mr. President, Congressman Donahue's in the intensive care unit. Now, I have a nurse that's working with him.
I'll just talk to him.
All right, sir. Yes,
hello.
Nurse in charge, Mr. President.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. President?
Hello?
Yes, this is the nurse in charge of the unit. May I help you?
Yes, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
When you get to have a chance to see the congressman, you tell him that I called to just wish him well.
Oh, thank you.
He and I were in the Navy together many years ago, before you were born, perhaps.
Okay.
And back in 1942, and he's a very old friend, and we were served in Congress together when we first came, and I hope he's doing all right.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your concern.
And you give him our best wishes.
I certainly will.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hello?
Miss Woods, Mr. President. Rosemary.
Hi, I'm sorry to bother you, but I noticed you've been ringing for Haldeman, and when they come in, do you want us to tell them to come on in or something?
Well, I'm waiting for, Colson's already been here, so as soon as they get in, as soon as Haldeman gets in, Haldeman and Colson can come in.
Okay, I'll leave a note.
Because they didn't expect me here, see, I
know.
I've been here, I'm working on other matters with some people, so I didn't. But there's no hurry. Don't call them at home.
Okay.
Fill these pens. Hello?
Mr. President, Mr. Carruthers, he's in California. Now, there's 3 hours difference of time there. Do you want me to...
No.
Shall I hold it for later?
No, I'll place the call later myself.
All right. Fine, sir.
Yeah.
Mr. Mulcahy, Mr. President.
Yeah. Hello?
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 Is Miss Mulcahy on the line?
Yes, this is Mr. Mulcahy speaking.
Yes, hello?
Hello, Mr. President?
Yes, how are you?
Fine, Mr. President. How are you?
I just called. I think you're getting married. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, July the 3rd?
That's right.
Well, I just wanted to wish you our very best and your bride, and to tell you that having seen my daughter get married about a couple of weeks ago, I know what a great thing it's going to be for you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Are you going to have a good Irish celebration afterwards?
Yes, we are.
Yeah. Irish whiskey?
Well, not too much of it now.
Well, listen, you can have my share. Fair enough. And I just wish you the very best. And I've met the girl, haven't I? Did I meet her?
No, sir, I don't believe so.
What is her name?
Elizabeth Shea.
Oh, my God, another Irish. Gee whiz. Can you keep it all in the family, don't you?
Another one to the mafia, huh?
That's right. Thank God. Thank God. Well, you give her my very best, and we are so delighted, Mrs. Nixon and I. We feel kind of like the Mulcahy's are part of our family, too, after our wonderful visit over there.
Well, that's great.
And I hope you're at of course, you're at the school, aren't you?
Yes, Mr. President.
Right. Yeah, well, your father is enormously proud of that you're doing there. That's a good service. Well,
thank you very much.
We wish you the best and have a wonderful honeymoon.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Bye.
Right, bye-bye.
Hello?
Mr. President, now this call to Wellington, Maryland.
Yeah.
He is at the hospital to pick up his wife.
Yeah.
I have the daughter answering at the residence. She said he should be home between 11:30 and 12 o'clock. Would you like me to leave word on that?
I'll talk to his daughter.
All right, fine.
Yeah.
There you are, Mr. President.
Hello?
Mr. President?
Yes?
This is Susie Mara, his daughter.
Well, how are you?
I'm fine.
And which one are you? Number what?
I'm number 2, second.
Number 2, great. Well, I just called to congratulate your mother and father and, of course, all the brothers and sisters on this number 10, huh? Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Now, you tell your dad when he gets back and your mother that he's got to have one more to make that football team,
Okay.
And I hope everything... and this is a little girl or boy?
A little girl.
Little girl.
Yes.
How many are girls and boys?
6 girls and 4 boys.
Oh, this puts the girls ahead.
Yeah.
You were really about to have a tie.
Yeah, we thought we were going to have a tie, too.
I see. Well, that's great. Are you a Giant fan?
Yes, very much.
Well, I'll tell you, I follow the football team so closely. When I was in New York, I always pulled for the Giants. But down here, I got to root for the Redskins now.
Yes, we know.
That's a good team. Well, you tell them that I called and just congratulate them, will you?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and bye.
Bye.
Mr. President, Mr. Haldeman calling.
Yeah.
Thank you. President on the line.
Yeah, you cut 105 words. 105, thanks. Right.
Please.
Could you ring Miss Woods, please?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Miss Woods. Hello?
Hi, Rose.
Hi.
I wondered if you would call a wire in to Bill Hearst. Just say your column. Your Sunday column is in the great tradition of the Hearst papers, of always putting the national security above any other considerations. Just sign it, Richard Nixon, okay?
All right. And we can send a mailogram anyway. I don't know if that strikes over.
Oh, I see. Well, they can just call it in.
Yeah.
It's a tough one that can be called to him if necessary.
Okay.
Okay.
Please.
You got me Mr. Bill Carruthers, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Carruthers, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Bill?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I had a couple of thoughts. Because of the way that I am ending my speech on the theme of America's a beautiful country, in the event that our time, and it all depends on how the time of the other two run, and if they run a little ahead and I finish a little ahead,
yes,
rather than God Bless America, I think America the Beautiful would be the better song.
Yes, sir.
It would fit the theme, you see. It'll fit in directly with the way I have it concluded.
Yes, sir.
My remarks. Could you do that?
Yes, sir. I'll take care of it right away.
Yeah. They can handle that. Now, one other thing. I was going to say that I was intending to wear my little American flag in my lapel. That's no problem from the...
No, sir. Not at all.
Fine.
Not at all.
I think it'll be appropriate, and a lot of people will notice it.
Yes, sir.
And it won't hurt on your... doesn't
no, sir.
Glitter off of it or something.
No problem.
Great.
Sir, all I have to do is confirm with the choir director that they have America the Beautiful a cappella. I'm certain that they do, but I'll confirm it back with you.
Well, if they have... No, you don't need to. If they don't, then sing God Bless America. It's all right, too.
We will follow, then, the national anthem with America the Beautiful, if possible.
If possible, and if not, why, we can do the other one. That's perfectly all right. You don't need to call me back on it.
All right, sir.
Okay, everything else is okay?
Yes, sir, just fine.
Fine, we'll see you there at 10 o'clock.
Thank you, sir.
Fine.
Yes, please.
Colson, please. Mr. Colson?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Mr. Colson.
Yes, sir, Mr. President.
Chuck, I had another thought with regard to this BLS thing.
Mm-hmm.
It occurs to me that, we might be running into something here that is could be more than simply accidental aberrations and so forth and so on. Let me spell it out.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, let us assume that they did find that they'd been too high, and now they've got to get lower. Certainly, the best way to adjust that would be on a gradual basis.
Mm-hmm.
From our standpoint. So you go down 1/10 one, 2/10 another, 1/10 another, 2/10 another. The worst way from our standpoint is to drop it like this and then have a lot of doubts raised about it and then start to raise it gradually till you get up to 5.8 or 9 or as to whatever they think it is. You see my point?
Mm-hmm.
In other words, a big drop in any month is not in our interest.
No.
Small increments is very much in our interest.
Exactly.
Now, when we know that it isn't all that exact science, it's quite clear. They fiddle with these figures.
Mm-hmm.
They go up and down.
In fact, I raised that this morning.
Oh, you did? Well, and I said
that if somebody were trying to hurt us, they would drop this way down and claim we were trying to fiddle with the figures, and then let it come back up the next month, and we just look like hell. And the best way for us would have been for them to have adjusted it down just slightly.
Yeah, 2 points, 0.2 of a point, been just as good as this.
You're quite right that it is not an exact science. It's based on a poll, and they do a lot of interpreting from it.
That's right. That's right, and somebody sits on high and determines how you're going to have the numbers come out.
Well, I'll tell you this, I wouldn't put it past any of those fellows. That's a pretty snaky crowd that we're dealing with over there.
Yeah.
So to me, it just...
well, we've got to get control of it, as I say, and around Labor Day, we'll just have to get control of it.
I think there's some time urgency, in my opinion, because we want to do it before it begins to look like we're going into a political year.
That's right. That's why it's got to be
during the quiet summer months.
It's a good time to make a change.
And I think if we had one guy in there if we had a guy in there at the top with some political moxie, what he would have done is said, "Look, this is too big a drop.
We're going to look bad." Yeah. So he could say that statisticians are going to look bad and foolish and so forth.
As one of the men that we called last night under the pretext of Time magazine said, we're never sure within 1/10 of 1% either way.
Yeah. One thing that I was going to say is this, that you could also see my point? Mm-hmm. The idea that raising question is about his competence in view of this thing, this sort of this. Now, if you got some ballsy guy that can, you see, this is the time to do it. To attack him when it's going down rather than up.
Well, a guy like Alan Wallace, even who might help us in this area. Been a lot of people who've been disturbed over the BLS.
Yeah.
Outside.
Well, Alan Wallace could do it if he would. I don't know if he would step up to something like that, but if he wouldn't, or he'd be good, but don't tell George or anybody else, but just have it, or maybe a congressman or a senator.
Well, someone
like Chuck Percy. No, he won't do it.
Yeah, he might. He's on
Chuck Percy, and he could just simply say that I just question this. Just take him in on the game and say, Chuck, here's what they're doing to us.
I'll tell you who would do it is Jack Miller of Iowa, who's on that committee and who's an accountant.
All right,
considers himself something of a statistician.
Get Jack to do it, but he does it on his own. I don't want to know anything about it. You know what I mean?
No, this would just.
He says that he believes there ought to be a shake-up in the bureau, something like that. That they've raised doubts in there. That's sort of a tough one to handle. We don't want to create too many doubts about our own figure. I mean, about the good side of it. But he can just say that. I don't know. It's worth getting the guy out, though. Maybe it isn't necessary to do that to get him out. I don't know.
Well, I think a little back pressure would help. I can, through Bill Baruti, who has a lot of good academic contacts.
Yeah.
I can get a little pressure going that will.
In other words, if the kind of attack you need really doesn't have to be public so much as it is the kind that will get to him. Mm-hmm. A column, for example, would really. They always entertain these intellectuals. All read them. You see.
That's right. A good economist.
Right.
Questioning the whole system, saying maybe it's out of date.
Maybe a Milton Friedman could question it.
Yeah, that'd be a dandy.
He'd be a dandy, wouldn't he?
Yeah. He's easy for me to get to because he's Brody's closest friend.
Well, just tell Brody to call for him and say, look, what the heck, this sounds like and just the comedy of errors of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, the whole proposition is this, that on the encouraging side, I mean, Schultz, who's a totally honest man, says, well, in any event, well, he doesn't think it was, first of all, he doesn't think it was as high as it was, and it isn't as low as it wasn't this much of a drop, but it did move in the right direction from January.
Oh, yes, and very significantly, Mr. President. He has a chart which...
I saw that chart,
which is damn good.
Shows how they go, and maybe, but as I say, it's the upward creep this summer. We'll have to take that, and it'll be tough.
But that chart adjusts for it. You see, I thought I might get that to some of the economic writers who are honest, and there are some.
Yeah. Oh, sure, there are a lot of them pride themselves on honesty.
Because we can, it's pretty good evidence that,
you see,
what trends is there.
I don't know. It may be that some of this, I don't know, it certainly on balance on television was more positive than negative from what I hear.
Oh, yes.
The real question is whether it had the zing that we wanted, in other words, to get people, just change people's attitudes. But
if that press release were written as just a straight release, it would have led all the networks.
Yeah.
It would have been a big story.
Yeah.
The Democrats would have questioned it, but that would come afterwards.
Yeah.
But the way the damn thing was written, it
didn't lead the networks.
No, it did. Oh, no, it just had a built-in discount. I mean, even George Schultz, who tried to defend, that, after all, used to be his agency, and he tried a little bit to defend it. When he read that release this morning, he said, hell, if I were trying to destroy this announcement, I couldn't have done it better than this press release. I mean, very bad job, which is why the deliberate idea maybe not too far off. That's right.
And from his public statements and the rest. And
so it may be his way of getting back at us. He's clearly on the other side.
Oh, God, yes. He's a clever bastard, too.
I really feel I'm going to keep the heat on getting him the hell out of there. And we might, I think this idea of getting some subtle pressures that... you can't tell him anything. He knows it all. But if a few people, the Friedman types, would it challenge how well that place is being run?
Yeah. See, that's another way, too. They also get CPI figures.
Oh, yes.
And those things can be jimmied like hell.
Yeah, both of those. They get the two most...
And the other thing, too, is that we just want those things under control when we get into, frankly, August, September, and October. Those are the months.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't make any difference how high it is at a time. It's got to be sure that it doesn't go up or down, so forth.
Well, that's right. That's when we need to...
We need a couple of good bounces in that period.
That's right.
And well, a lot of other things will happen by then, but we shall see. And,
there's no question, Mr. President, of all the agencies, this probably, as you pointed out to Hudson, this has more political muscle behind it than probably everything else the Labor Department does. I mean, every month this creates a major news impact, good or bad. So far, they've managed to hurt the good ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it'll be very interesting. See what we can do on it. Well, that's I guess you've got everything in mind we can do. And
well, I'll stay with it. You can be sure.
Yeah, I know that.
It's important, and I'll work some quiet ways to keep it going in the right direction.
Yep. And we'll face up to it in August. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Sir. Please.
Chuck Colson, please.
Thank you, sir. Colson, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
One way it occurs to me, of course, to get a better bounce out of this, and I assume you've already taken care of it or are taking care of it, and that is to be sure that our congressmen and senators, and to the extent we have them other spokesmen, that rather than their relying on this release and the sort of the mixed bag they get out of the press, to just give them a simple one-page statement, maybe about Hatchet or something like that.
We sent one up yesterday, which you saw perhaps in the news summary that Dole and Scott used.
Yeah, I see.
And it's damn good.
Yeah, good.
Points out that the breadwinners are down to 3.1% unemployment. The full-time workers are down to 5%. It's excellent.
Well, they just start. I think they're starting with the main thing. Employment dropped to the biggest drop in 20 years.
Right.
Okay.
And we're on the verge of 80 million jobs in this country, which is unprecedented.
Okay.
We'll see what they all have that, sir.
Bye.
Right.
Mrs. Nixon, please.
Thank you, sir.
A stranger on the Ponderosa is in trouble with a cockfight. Tomorrow night at 9 8 Central Time. Most small cars only give you 2 doors, but Mercury Palace, a better small car, gives you 2 doors or 4 doors. What do you think people in some small cars? They would go 5 inches of door.
Trying to find her, Mr.
Oh, yeah,
President.
you can call me back.
All right. Mrs. Nixon,
Hello.
how are you? There you are.
Hello.
Hi, Dick.
I want you to know I'm going to eat here because I'm finishing my speech over here now.
Yeah.
So
I guess we all go together.
Yeah, we go at about 10 minutes till 10.
Yeah.
Just 10 minutes before 10. We have to get there a little early so that they get everybody seated before.
Yeah.
And afterwards, we're going to come back and take the helicopter to Camp David.
Yeah, I have to have about 2 minutes to change, though.
There's no problem. We've got plenty of time.
Well,
I'll probably want to slip up and get something myself. And the other thing is that wait a minute. No, that was all, I guess. Yeah, we'll leave at 10 minutes till 10.
Okay.
So I'll see you over there.
Good.
And we'll be ready. Okay.
Okay.
Mr. John Andrews, please.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Andrews, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, Mr. President.
Hello. Say, how do you pronounce that valedictory? Do you put on the dick or the tory? Is it valedictory? You see what I mean?
Well,
it's a rather awkward word.
Valedictorian.
Well, valedictorian is the way you pronounce that, but when you call it valedictory address.
I think the accented syllable is D-I-C, valedictory.
Valedictory. That must be my thought. Okay, thank you.
You got it all ironed out, ready to go?
Oh, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I made a few more changes, but we're all set.
Well, we'll look forward to it.
It's all set. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Please.
General Haig, please.
Thank you.
Yeah.
General Haig's and route home should be about 15 minutes, Mr. President.
You can call me.
All right. General Haig, sir.
Yeah. Hello?
Yes, Mr. President.
Al, I was wondering about that salt thing. Did we get that instruction out to him?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's gone out, and I've talked to Jerry Smith about it today.
Fine. I knew that we had already had it I knew what we were going to say, but I just wanted to be sure it went out.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Fine, Mr. President.
Okay, Mr. Ziegler, please.
Shelley.
Ziegler, please.
Oh, yes, sir.
You really bombed out on CBS, didn't we?
Well, minute 35 seconds.
No, this is the amount of time, Ron. Never. The question of what he did. He said he didn't show any enthusiasm.
Yeah, that's right.
Didn't show real upheaval. Whatever.
Yeah.
Considering what it was, he couldn't have picked the worst thing. And it was quite deliberate. You could see that.
Well, he was down there trying to sell it. I guess he didn't. He should have.
You think he was? You think he was trying?
Well, I heard him. He said he was trying to get more time on. But you know what happens in those cases? I think they designated the time, and then he got his twist in there at the end. Actually, NBC didn't have any commentary at all. NBC had a 2-minute report.
I see.
With no ABC and CBS referred to the voting potential.
That's perfectly all right. I don't mind that.
But NBC did not. NBC had 1 minute of you speaking and enthusiastic applause.
The thing that both of them, all networks should have used was enthusiasm, and they should have used the kids singing.
Right.
Damn good.
Right. NBC.
No, but they only had NBC pick the bad sections. They picked the low. They didn't pick the upbeat at the end.
It didn't.
I know how to pick stuff.
Right.
The NBC guy, and you should talk. He deliberately picked the wrong stuff.
Right.
That's right. Don't you agree or not?
Well, the feel of the room was not presented on TV tonight. What was presented on TV, I think, looked good and was.
Oh no, I agree.
But having been in the room and watching the TV, you got a totally different feeling.
They missed the story, and I think I want you to tell each of them that I think they missed it deliberately.
All right, I will. Yes, sir.
It's done deliberately. You just say that's your vote.
I will. I'll
looks like straight, deliberate. Look, fellas, everybody knows what the hell was the matter? Why did they do it that way? You know what I mean? I understand. I'm not complaining about it. I expected it to be this way. It shows you that you can put on something really good and then have them screw it up.
Yep, sure does.
Although, they say, on the whole, it's a plus.
Mort Allen, who was not over there, I called Mort to get his feel. I said, Mort, what did you think? He said he thought, it was a good presentation. It was a good feel to it. It showed the enthusiasm. He felt ABC, which was 2 minutes and 20 seconds, was probably showed the best feel of it because they referred to the pins, I believe, on ABC.
Yeah, that's right.
And, showed
there were
more
a lot
of the enthusiasm.
There were a lot of other things. The point is, if you want to fix them, they could have shown the cheering and the enthusiasm. They did their best. And ABC also showed shaking hands with the kids.
Right, they did. NBC a little bit. CBS, I was disappointed.
CBS did great.
CBS
great job. Oh, no, CBS was
disappointed with that.
They disappointed more than that. They were very cleverly done. So, without getting that, he did have a line that seems to be well, maybe it may be that he has more input.
I'll give this.
I'd say do it tomorrow.
Guys really miss the
story. What do you really think of it? That's the matter. Why do you reflect it that way? We don't check it. And as I say, I think all of this work. It just shows you how these networks are. Poor old Mart, he must get off of the spirit. Night after night.
Huh? Actually, he referred to the fact, too, and I saw it. I don't know if you saw it. Of course, this is only the local thing, but it shows how well it could be handled. WTOP at the end of the show showed an awful lot of, the young people, the excitement, the singing, and the whole thing. It was on WTOP. That's not that one.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Well, maybe around the country there.
I suspect so.
Well,
but
I'm not complaining. I accept to say that I think it does show the problem. It also may be that they're just
I'll handle this tomorrow. I know how to do it. Well, I'll just, when I see Pierpoint, when I see Caplow and Gerald, apart from one another, I'll put the deal into it. I was at both places.
Do you think it reflected the spirit in the room? Okay.
Okay, sir.
Please.
Parliament, please.
Thank you.
Hello?
Mr. Haldeman.
Hello? Hello? Well, we didn't do too well on the networks.
That's what Ron said.
CBS should be bad. And ABC had a little of a feel of it, and NBC was not bad either. But basically, now understand, the whole thing is a plus.
Oh, yeah.
But the point is, CBS really jobbed us, and they didn't get the feel of it. I think Pierpoint he may give Ron a little crap. Proceeds to butter up.
Well, I don't know. It could be. And also, though, they apparently didn't give him time to the story.
Well, anyway, it's worth doing.
Well, I'll tell you what I think we ought to do on this one. And maybe Charles or Herb ought to follow up on it rather than Ron.
Well, not Ron.
Well, maybe Ron should. Here's what I think is that we ought to ask the heads of each of the three networks, Goodman and Haggerty or somebody, to sit down, to go to the trouble, just once, of sitting down and screening the entire footage that they shot of that thing, their own guy shot. Right? Just run the whole thing for them. Right? And then immediately afterwards, look at what they put on the air. Right? And ask themselves, was this really fair coverage?
No, I tell you the one to do it, not her. But poor Herbie isn't got the strength. But have Colson do it. We've got it to him. So now look, we're not complaining. Just want you to look and let him take it now. Each of them is good, and he lets him see it. So you think it's fair? Not only fair, it isn't a question of fair. We're not complaining about it. Except that we say, do you think it reflected what was there? Was it accurate? We think so?
Yeah. I think they should, because I can't imagine that looking at that whole event, they can't come off thinking they didn't really cover it right.
Well, the footage is only 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So they don't have too much to look at.
That's right.
Well, damned event. Let them see what it was.
That's right.
I don't want to see it. I don't want too many kneeling things. Keep Herb out of it, because he doesn't know how to do it. I mean, he doesn't really get through about them. I don't think, because he's too nice.
Well, this is one where we can make it, just on the point that this isn't a hard news thing. It is a matter of
we don't have any complaints.
Interpretation. We don't have any complaints. Nothing inaccurate.
Complaining.
Your coverage was good.
That's right. That's right. But we just wonder.
You look at it. See whether you really think that this reflected the feeling.
But they were doing their desperate best. They knew it was good. They were doing their desperate best to play it down. That's it. Did you see any of it?
No.
That's like the third one. We didn't have much support among the 18-year-old votes. So it's a little gallop. Missed the whole point of the thing. Yeah. There was a lot of bright young kids in Europe being inspired.
I think we ought to do it.
All right. But give that as a Colson assignment. Let's see if we can follow up on each one. Well, can he get the tape himself? Maybe did we tape it? Rather than what they did.
You may have.
All right, get the name. And then let him go, and then let him sit with Paley.
But it's better for them to look at their own case stuff.
God damn it, they won't do it.
Yeah, but okay, let him go into the Paley, but ask him to do it with their film. He can have ours long too, but ask him to look at theirs. Because theirs will be the same as ours.
Mm-hmm.
They filmed it, they have the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Well,
it will be just as good as ours. Their cameramen were just as impressed as anybody else was by the whole thing.
Ronald might ask their cameraman if they thought they did a fair job. He can do that tomorrow.
Good idea.
He'd say, look, what do you think of the coverage, fellows, honestly? Going to do that. He's gonna need a clear point of it anyway.
Good.
I said, fine. Gerald was all right. But the whole thing was basically that, which is exactly what I expected. Always what I say is what you said earlier, that if this has been done by somebody they wanted to help, they'd around 5 to 8 minutes. You know? Jesus Christ. They have nothing else. There's nothing else in the news tonight. Nothing.
Right.
Nothing. It's dull as hell. Dull as hell. Not a damn thing. And so, except negative stuff. Now, here's a chance to run something positive, upbeat, American on 4th of July. And they didn't do it. They didn't do it deliberately. I think they goddamn well ought to be called on this.
I sure do.
Because we don't have many clear ones like this, do we?
Oh. All right. Just chuck it to him. Okay. All right.
Send them Mr. Haldeman. Oh, Bob.
Yes, sir.
We're going to ask you one other thing. When is Gallup going to run his next? Okay.
The approval or the current week?
The approval.
Approval, he said next Sunday.
Not running after that.
That's what it says in the release on this one. This next Sunday we'll have the trial. Or not the trial, we have the point of how does this affect him.
But he hasn't run the thing from the last one.
I guess not.
40 minutes. Didn't run that at all.
I'm not sure. I'll have to check.
Well, anyway, we got Harris before him.
That could be Thursday.
Too bad he was the same day. All right. I rather think
Gallup may do something different.
Gallup it's going to be very hard for him to be too far off from ours, because our scheme, there wasn't a hell of a lot that happened between our week and his week. Don't you agree? In other words, the case hadn't come down.
The case hadn't come down, and there's just a lot of
hullabaloo and yakking around about it.
There about papers, but it obviously didn't.
5%. 5% more.
Only 5% difference in the
right. Okay. You ring Tricia in New York, please.
Please.
Did you get me Congresswoman Florence Dwyer of New Jersey? She's probably not in her office, but you can probably reach her.
All right, Mr. President.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Congresswoman Dwyer for you. There you are.
Hello?
Hello.
I want you to know that in reading my 4th of July material over the weekend, I discovered that you were one of the very few people in the Congress, and I think there's only one other, as a matter of fact, that was born on that day, and I just want to congratulate you.
This isn't President Nixon, is it?
Of course.
This isn't a joke, is it?
No, I'm. As a matter of fact, I'm in my office. I'm working. I'm going to Kansas City tomorrow. I'm going to meet with the steel steel and.
Really, for real, is it?
But I want you to know that I saw that Flo Dwyer was 4th of July baby, and you know.
That's why I'm so independent. That's why I don't always, that's why I'm so recalcitrant.
Well, you know, Julie was born on the 5th.
Oh, really?
And we just talked to her in Athens this morning. She just missed the 4th by about an hour or two. So
I'm so thrilled. I don't know what to do.
Well, I just want you to know. I
want to tell you that we had 250,000 people at the 4th of July parade.
In Elizabeth?
No, in central New Jersey, which is Plainfield.
Plainfield, right.
It's part of it. And I want to tell you, I never saw anything like it. And I said,
great.
Look, whether you agree or you don't, I want you to pray for the President of the United States. He has heavy burdens. And then when you get through praying, have a little prayer for me, too.
That's very good. Very good.
It was the most fabulous thing I've ever seen.
Well, I'm so glad, and it's good that so many would come out.
Believe it's the President of the United States.
Right. Well,
You're something, Mr. President.
Yeah.
You're something.
Well, I remember that time I came to Elizabeth so many years ago, and remember we went out to all the plants, and we've done a lot of things since.
When you said be for Flo Dwyer when nobody thought I could be.
Oh yeah.
Remember that.
That's right.
President.
Right. Well, I'm going to California tomorrow. I'm leaving. I go to Kansas City first for a Midwest media briefing, and I'll be in California for about 10 days for a lot of open a shipyard and a few other things.
Listen, whether I run or not next year, I'm with you all the way.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it. You're a real fighter.
No, I'm with you all the way.
That's right, and I appreciate it. And I'm so glad to talk to you, but you just...
I can't believe this.
Well...
I can't believe it until somebody's joke on me.
The White House operator never makes any mistakes. And...
President.
Yeah.
250,000 people.
That's wonderful.
Today. And if people don't think that this country doesn't believe in this country, they play God Bless America at the reviewing stand.
Right.
I want to tell you could hear a pin drop.
Well, I can tell you this, that it's going to come out all right. You just watch. We're doing a lot of things that are going to help.
And believe me, I saw it today, and I said this in my speech.
Well, that's great.
Mr. President, my gosh, I never had anything like this happen to me in my life. I think I want to die now.
No. We need you now. You just take care. And you give everybody up there my best, will you?
I sure will.
Okay.
President.
I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
Bye.
Thank you, Mr. President. Bye.
Please.
Could you get me Congressman James Harvey of Michigan, please?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Congressman Harvey, sir.
Hello?
Mr. President?
Jim?
Yes, sir.
I wanted you to know that I found a very interesting coincidence in looking over my 4th of July material that you happen to be born on that day.
Yes, sir.
And so I'm just calling to congratulate you and to tell you my daughter Julie was born on the 5th, and I talked to her in Athens today, so I thought I'd better call Harvey and tell him too.
You're very, very kind.
Well, fine. And incidentally, don't worry about crossing that next mark. You know, you're still very young. Every time I used to get to 39 and 49, I thought I was old, but you're doing fine.
Well, you're very kind.
Did you have a good 4th?
I had a very good...
Were you home or in Washington?
We stayed right here in Washington.
Yeah, too much to do, yeah.
In fact, we just watched you on television just a few minutes ago.
Oh, with the young people.
With the young people, and it was terrific.
Yeah, they were great. I wish they could have had more. They sang the Battle Hymn of the Republic better than I've ever heard it sung. There were about 500 of them in that room, jammed in, just full of life. Gee, they were wonderful.
We need an awful lot of that.
That's right.
Oh, it was tremendous.
That's right, and it was really great. great. Well,
Mr. President, I can't thank you enough.
Well,
I've had this honor before.
Well, I tell you, unless you were just going to cross the threshold of another decade, I wouldn't have done it. But I thought, I just want to sympathize with you.
All right.
Right, and I just hope you, just celebrating on the 4th, did you pop up a few firecrackers?
No, we didn't do that at all.
No, you ought to, though. You ought to. Well, I'll tell you, the next...
We're pretty well grown.
No, but when you come to the next time, the next year, when you cross that threshold...
That's going to be a big year, yeah.
Bang it, but good. Okay.
I hope it's going to be a big year for you, too.
Oh, I'll tell you, it's coming along. Jim, I'm going tomorrow I have quite a heavy day. As a matter of fact, I'm meeting with the steel industry, well, and labor, too, to put a little heat on them to have a good settlement. I trust it isn't too bad. I think they will do reasonably well, but we don't want to go out of line. Then I'm going out to California and stopping at Kansas City for immediate briefing, be in California about 10 days on the budget, and open a shipyard and a few other things. But in the meantime, you fellows can hold the fort. But there are lots of things going on that don't meet the eye here. We're coming along very well.
I'm sure you are, and I'm all with you.
Well, I appreciate it. And give my best to your family.
I will, Mr. President.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
All right, bye.
General Haig, please.
Thank you.
Hello?
General Haig, sir.
Hello?
Yes, Mr. President.
Any late developments?
No, sir. I think we had that attack on Da Nang was a little something. It turned out that there were 3 more, total of 5 Americans killed in that damn thing. And 37 wounded is the latest report.
That was yesterday or today?
It was yesterday. Well, actually, it's today, our time.
Today, our time, yeah. Just what was it? Just one of those shellings, or?
Yes, a rocket attack that hit a barracks in Da Nang Air Base.
What do you think? Could have been avoided, or what?
Well,
no way.
No, sir. This is one of those long-range rocket attacks, 122 millimeters, the same as hitting the city itself. This is the air base. It's right in the populated area. So it wasn't anything that could be avoided beyond the...
Yeah. Just one of those lucky shots, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes.
For them, at least. But, well, we've got to expect that, Al, don't you think?
Yes, I do.
As long as there't anybody there.
That's right. They're going to keep pecking at it, and
yep.
This will happen.
Yeah, right. Well, Henry's over in Thailand now, huh?
Yes, sir. He's leaving at 1 o'clock our time. He'll be taking off for Delhi.
And Thailand should be calm. I don't know if there's much can happen there.
No, I talked to one of Henry's assistants at 6 o'clock their time in the morning, just before Henry went to a breakfast, and he said that the Saigon leg was really very, very fruitful.
Yeah, good.
And that Henry's visit with Thieu was important and did a great deal to shore them up. They were apparently beginning to sag a little bit.
Well, the question is whether we, I should shore them up, of course, in one sense, and then the other sense is how much we're able to produce on it. It's the real question is whether we've got to be sure we don't promise what we can't do with them.
Well, this is right, sir. I don't think he did any of that. I think mostly was the fact that they expected there was going to be, all these stories about a step-up withdrawal between now and December had him quite...
Oh, yeah. Well, he can reassure them on that, at least.
Yes, he did, and...
we're going to see that game through, but... and he's got to, naturally, to realize that after that, the game's over, and...
well, I think he does.
Yeah.
I would say from their discussion that that's quite evident. His point was that after you get down to a certain point, it makes no difference.
Sure.
But he does want the air, and he wants to keep economic assistance coming.
Yeah. We can do that. I think we can handle that all right. We can handle a lot of other things, but see it through to the end of the year, and then we can move on to some other things. Okay. Well, let me know if anything happens on the other fronts. Either the Pakistani or of course the Russian front. We all know.
No,
I doubt it. It's probably you won't hear anything from Dobrynin before you leave. Now,
no, I think we will, sir. I think we will.
Before you go to California.
Yes.
You think you will? Let's see. We leave tomorrow at noon. You know.
Yes, sir.
Well, you might hear tomorrow morning.
Right.
And if you don't, it'll be done. Because he's been told we have to know, and that's that.
Yes, sir. That's right. He knows.
And either way, it's fine.
Well, when I saw him yesterday morning, he went over the routine of if we had gone to California, he would come in and use our phone.
Sure. Good. Well, we just need to know one way or another. We're not going to appear anxious about it. Because we're not. We can take it one way or the other, as it turns out. Okay.
Right, sir.
Fine.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Mr. Haldeman, please.
Thank you, sir.
Hello.
Mr. Haldeman is on long distance. He said he'd call you in just a minute.
No hurry.
Thank you.
Hello.
Good evening, Mr. President. Well, that was quite a little welcome to you. Yes, I think it was nice. You had a audience arrangement. They all seemed quite enthusiastic. Haldeman was what, sir?
Haldeman arranged it. You told me about it, but I thought it was quite enthusiastic.
Well, actually, there were just a few calls made, and the word spread kind of rapidly, and I think everyone wanted to be there. And we did, and I think everybody else that was there. There was too. It was a great and spontaneous outburst, and that's
an interesting thing is that the military are enthusiastic about this. They're hard lines. They know what this is all about.
I took the test.
What is it?
They were both
They understand it. They're not like our rather primitive hardliners who just see this small part of it. They see the big global scheme, how this has changed the whole game.
I thought it was very nice. There was I don't know how many people there, but there was just about everybody from the official families who were in Washington.
Right.
And there was a great deal of I was walking among the crowd while we were waiting for the plane to land. There was a great deal of enthusiasm. Wanting to congratulate you personally.
Well, this is just the first step. We'll see what happens. No,
it's given a great lift to people.
I think it probably has some or other finally restored some confidence in the presidency. We can do something, but we're still the world leader. Something we haven't had for at least 10 years.
I don't know whether you saw any reports that Dean had interviews.
No.
British newspapers. I didn't hear it all. I was portions of it on the radio today. He was terribly critical of Jack Kennedy.
Okay.
He said the only reason that Kennedy was really highly regarded now is that he was president. And had he lived to fulfill his 2 terms, people would not sympathize with him. He was a good man, but not a great man. And that he did not understand the policies, didn't understand the great problems. Impliedly very complimentary reviews, but I heard of it. That's not taking full of what
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. The Democrats are going through a period of soul wrenching.
It's been a traumatic experience for him. Must be trying to say, well, now what are we going to do about Vietnam and all that? McCloskey, I understand, is on saying, well, this is give up Vietnam. Well,
McCloskey and Muskie have taken, the two of them have taken exactly the same step. I think it reveals their political concern that this is taking the focus away from Vietnam completely. This goes ahead as well. I think we'll have that.
seems the story is built very, very strongly. More strongly than the project. And this very big world reaction.
Well, there's been something else that you watch television, listen to the radio, or pick up the newspapers. That's all the therapy. Detroit News had a story today that related to Pentagon Papers to this. Obviously, this is the reason it doesn't head to move. Because how imperative it was to maintain secrecy with all issues, very delicate issues. Saying now, kind of saying to the New York Times in a way, but please tell us to do what you want. That's very, very good secrecy. I've been running on video and TV and copyright material as well. Your host. Yeah, your host. Right. He read a bang on it. I had to spoke to him earlier in the week about trying to find the rationale of the government. He's hoping to make this follow-up, but he really took off in light of the China. Incidentally, I mentioned the fellow who was that? Mr. Hearst. Right. Should be there, but we didn't have them there. I don't think he should be there. He should, because he's really, he's right down the line. That newspaper says right. Right. I'll see what we get. Yeah. Well, it's certainly taken to much like his other problems. Focus is left with him for a while. I think it's certainly shaken our Democratic friends. What are they doing? They must be tradition. Teddy's not staying there. I kept going and we had someone keep going to go and I tried to put it there. I've been watching The Wire and that's me and we haven't been able to get an answer. So I don't think he is like your president this morning. Try to get a face. He won't send me the fish. He's none of it that's he's never seen it. I would never do it. That's what they say. I just finished reading today President book, Golden Bridge of Chappaquiddick. It was published in December, right after the Chappaquiddick episode. And it's a devastating book, published by a pro-Kennedy guy. He was trying throughout the book to build up Teddy, even though he told the story of how it ever happened. And we're making some exploration now to see whether copies of those could be the publisher knows the back of the print. But if you finish reading it, come away with a feeling of awfully weak guy. He really lied his way out of it. Sure he lied his way out. So his hate way out of it. It's happening. So apparently it's the time. It only had one print. By a boy. Supposed today ran that poll after him. I said he was came out on Thursday with Harris Lincoln. So this benefit would be very little bit of backstop. I guess they finally figured they better publish it. Let's put it into both. Yeah. It's very damaging. I don't know what any of these taken away at one level. Right now, they've got to be a little leery because they're not sure what's coming next. That's right. I don't see what they can take. Damn hard for them to take it to Vietnam. They will. Well, sure, that'll come to them. Then by the end of the week, it's awful hard to make an issue. The backdrop of it, like the Pentagon Papers, like the doubling of the preliminary figures in the cash were 11 last week. Yes, that's good. Yeah. Saying about it, but that's coming out Thursday. Oh. When you get down to 11, what do you got? I'm sure there are that many people that use their skills. But these boys have been home. No. I was a man that came into the last Thursday. I had a meeting with him that was very much like the one you had with FEC, except he had asked for it. So I simply said, well, here are the things you've done to us over the past several months, and I'm just picking out some of the cases at random, and I just ran through them all. And everyone he agreed with. He said, I can't argue with that. He admitted that Roger Mudd was very biased against him. And he said that he had seen some of the clear points of work that I complained about. What he said was, I'm going to correct it. You have my word for that. I had two witnesses in the room. He said, you have my word that this will be corrected. A couple of times, I used the word rotten journalism. And then I backed her up and said, well, I really shouldn't say this. I guess maybe these fellows just don't understand. And he said, no, it's just not. And I said, well, we can't do much about tonight. These people are independent. Can't tell them what to do. He said, the hell I can't tell them what to do. I never tell them what to do. So he gave me two lists. He said, anytime when you had a bad, very biased report, but we noticed I was scoring and he would take affirmative steps to correct it. And then he went a step further and he said, if there's ever any story that you really feel is important that our people might not do, I've done everything that they're throwing it out and I'll see that we give it full coverage. The 11th coverage. Oh, I'll use that as coverage. He's worthwhile. He's a change man, but I don't know whether this is whether this episode really taught him a lesson or whether he couldn't care. But he was not arrogant. Very, very frightened. He apologized several times. Of course, he sees the enormous effect of the change. I'm sure that, well, of course, I saw it Thursday. Oh, before that. Yeah. So that may even have a further step. So he, several times, he just said, oh, I was not really stupid. He said, I'm taking steps to correct it. He said, you probably don't believe it, but I'll prove it to you. Very unusual attitude. Oh, by the way, he told me that he said that he had a long talk with Julian Whitson after NBC and NBC. And I tried to say to him, I said, well, I don't want to tell Taylor what to do, but I'm trying to tell you what the president has to do, that he's told what to do. And Frank said, you don't have to do it. And had a long talk with him. He said, I'll say that's quite an effect. So maybe these guys will understand stuff. It obviously doesn't impact on business. NBC doesn't do that. Ever since that meeting, that's relevant to maybe you can do the same thing that you do. Sure. Can't do any worse. No, that's right. There's nowhere to go except the truth. Of course, I think the overriding, but I think the second thing is the say kind of leadership that has caught the imagination of the country. The way this has. It's caught everything. It's caught the people of area. The only thing people do. That's very favorable. So that's where you're going to lose and see if you have really fought. As I think you have. The ways of public opinion. They don't want to go to the U.S. That's bad for them. They only really will attack when they think they can get away with it. They won't attack when you're riding the kind of press. Like after November 3rd. That's right. Exactly. There's that more so. Well, this is much more so because it's a great positive. Something that offers great hope. Well, you studied it. My grandfather said it was the most, without the word, exact word, it was the most hopeful development of imaginative leadership that the country hasn't had. Couldn't have been. But especially people who do tend to make opinions like that. I think he's really weak. Of course, if you read the press today and the radio and TV, you realize that the world people are here. And will be this. Yeah, it will be. And the second thoughts, which is fine. But they always sound life will be the statements out of the Australia brought to the Chinese after this is very, very good. The comment that she made apparently that be willing to do that they kind of do that after this it's very well reported. People who hear that realize that this is move on your part of long range. Well, it's an interesting week. Yes, it will. Even if there's a period, you won't have as much problem to deal with. I believe we'll start to be well, I think you'll find our own troops. That's what I mean, our troops. Oh, sure. I think you'll find a young person who won't dare to go up to this person from yeah, I believe first of all, some way of I wonder what for my bias is. I've just been reading out a little many times. I don't think there's much to do with him. Or care that's good. Most of the others, I like most of the others would be. He's good defending the better. Yeah, he was. I took it. Very enthusiastic. Very lavish with it. We should have had more of this, though. Oh, we didn't have time to get the chance. That's enough. That's all. I think we could have had a gang of them out there. That's enough, though. We don't want to overdo it. That's very natural. Well, the press had to be a little bit of press about this because there had been no build-up. There was nothing in the newspapers about it. As they saw it, this was the President Stone's family coming up to meet him. I think that had a good effect, but it wasn't the base. Right. But it was kind of yeah. And as a matter of fact, this adventure was what we found. Oh, sure. Because there's feel about it. Takes a little time. Right. So the market opened Friday first hour. But that's right, and then it ended off. But that was because they weren't ready to appraise yet. That's because they're representing that's the difference. The market, except the China, the market is on Friday would have been sure. We'll see, I can do it. That's what I think. Well, we'll see what goes on. Well, we'll see. How masterful it depends on how it happens. Okay. You get Mr. Taylor, polling yelling, please.
Hello. Could you get me Julie, please?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Mrs. Nixon, Mr.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Colson, please.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, please.
Would you give me Mr. Rebozo, please?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Colson, sir.
Hello. Yes, sir, Mr. President.
Well, I see Kennedy got smoked out.
Well, he sure surprised me.
You know what I think may have happened?
I think he
polled. No, I'll lay you money that he polled by telephone or something, and he might have found that there was strong support, or he may have talked to his people around and just sort of sensed the tide. What's your guess?
I think we might have smoked him out, unfortunately. I'm kind of sorry we did in a way, except it was a hell of a good statement.
No, that doesn't hurt us at all.
But what we did, we tipped off 3 columnists. We know that Evans and Novak were calling his office yesterday. We called at noon, and his press secretary said he has not issued a statement. He is not going to issue a statement, and you can put that down. That's it. And then at 2:30 he put it out. And of course, it was an effusive statement.
Yeah, there was Haldeman said it was almost sickening.
Well, it was. Of all the years that I've watched the Kennedys in operation,
never praised anybody yet.
I've never seen one like that.
What, do you have it there?
Yes, I think I do, Mr. President. Let me just dig into my folder here. Well, I can tell you the news summary statement. Maybe you saw that.
No, I didn't read it today. What did it say?
Kennedy issued a statement of, according to the AP, called it of effusive praise for the president's initiative. Rarely, he said, is... Oh, here, I have the actual statement. I can read you the... I wish to add my own congratulations to the overwhelming approval that President Nixon has already received for the dramatic announcement of his plan to visit China. Every president has immense potential for leadership in the nation's foreign affairs, but rarely, I think, has the action of any president so captured the imagination and supported the American people as President Nixon's magnificent gesture last week for the improvement of our relations with China. Then he goes on, I don't share the views of some that the president's initiative is necessarily a step with obvious immediate and long-range domestic advantage. Perhaps some advantage will materialize, perhaps not. What is clear, however, is the great expectations that have already been raised by the announcement of the visit itself. The hopes for peace, now set in motion, are as vast as the imagination of man. Jesus. We know that harmonious relations between America and China will have enormous benefit on all of our other vital foreign policy issues of our time, especially on issues like peace in Vietnam, stability in Asia, progress towards nuclear control and disarmament. He just goes on. It's President Nixon will carry the prayers of every citizen with him to Peking, and the cause of peace will be the richer. It frankly doesn't even sound like it.
Maybe he's trying to. No, he's gone out so far here that maybe he's trying to build it up so that it doesn't reach. Oh no, I don't know. It's hard to figure what.
Well, what is especially hard to figure is that his office was fending off press queries. We had someone calling him twice a day, 3 times a day. And they were extremely annoyed, the last call that we made, which was about noon, and just said there will be no statement, period. And we know that other columnists were calling. And I think they finally decided that the thing wasn't going to backfire, that there were no negatives in it, and that you had really caught the public imagination in an extraordinary way. And he just better get on board and not get left off.
Yeah.
I really think that's what's involved.
Yeah.
He sure fooled me because it's very unlike him to...
Right.
Now, of course, he came back this afternoon and gave Ed Brooke told me this morning that he was giving a very damning speech on housing. We hadn't done enough for public housing, and...
That's all right.
So he's going to...
Let him yak all he wants about that.
That's right. He's going to come right back.
Ed Brooke must feel pretty good.
Ed is about as high as I think I've ever heard of.
Because as he will tell you, he advocated this to me when we were flying on the airplane one time.
Well, he also told me that when he met with you and Henry, that there'd been some vague discussion that he kind of got the picture.
That's right. He was told.
He plans to give
and he said, tell him that when you call him back that I think that he can, I want him to reveal that, with my permission, that when he was traveling with us in the campaign, we had a long talk on the plane one day, and he said that the most important single thing we could do in foreign policy was the China Initiative.
Oh, that's good.
Then tell him, and I think it'd be good if he said that.
Well, he's planning early next week, Mr. President, to give a major foreign policy speech, which he's going to advertise in advance, and in which he's going to say that I have had some differences with the administration. But I want to say whatever differences I have had, I have none now. I'm in total support. And perhaps he hasn't come all the way on this, although I'm working on him, perhaps announce that he will drop any opposition to the ABM this year. You know, he's been one of the leaders in the ABM fight.
Right.
And that would give
until so that the president can have a chance to negotiate.
That's right. And it would give him some drama to the speech and some reason for the speech.
You can tell him that I think it would be helpful if he would say that very thing that we talked on the plane and so forth.
I think that's a great...
It's true, too. Absolutely true.
That's a great thing for him to use, because it also establishes the length of time that you've been involved in.
Right.
That this has been going on.
Anything else new?
No, I'm just...
I got your memorandum on media. You're absolutely right. It's better to have a few on the right that are yelling. Also, it'll help us from the foreign policy standpoint. We need it with the Chinese to let them think that there's some fear of the right here, you see.
I think it helps us on all scores, and it certainly it can't hurt us. Your approval, I'm getting in the statements now from the veterans organizations supporting us. They're almost a little too good, but to have Meany out there, I think has some very nice Machiavellian twist.
Right. Good.
Lou, by the way, held up his field people, and kept about a third of the field poll was conducted after the China announcement.
Only a third. Oh yeah.
But it's going to permit him to do an interesting thing. He's going to, when he comes up with it, show the impact if it's favorable, which I'm positive it will be.
Well, it's going to show some up.
Oh, hell yes.
No question. I don't know how much, but it'll show some.
Oh, I'm sure it will show up. And then he's going to start at the end of next week a major field survey on you personally, on the China issue, on the trial heats, which from many standpoints will probably be an excellent time for us. He's going to put him back in just as quickly as he can get him back into the...
Well, we can help fund that, if you want. I don't know whether it's necessary, but when I say, I don't mean we, but through some source, maybe through his company or something, just put in the money.
Well, we've been helping him, and he's agreeable to doing this. Good. He's all right. Good. Did you happen to see Milton Friedman's Newsweek column?
I heard it was good, but I didn't see it. No.
Well, it really is one of the best things written, and since Friedman is, of course, a darling for the conservatives, and we need to do some romancing there.
Yeah, well, we have a problem. All of our the legislative leaders meeting, they're all bitching about the economy. They're so negative. These guys, we presented the China thing. Not one of those leaders said a word that was saying, "Well, gee, that was a good job."
Is that right?
Not one damn leader.
You mean our own leaders?
Yes, sir. These are Republican leaders. You'd think they'd hell, if it'd been a bunch of Democratic leaders, they'd been jumping up and down saying, "That's great, Mr. President."
Well, our guys are kind of dead on their...
I'd let McGregor know that was a pretty sad performance.
It's a shame. They always feel that...
Well, they always feel, I don't know. I don't know. They don't seem to be able to appreciate anything that's going well for them. They're all just just a bunch of goddamn dead asses. It's really unbelievable.
It's a sad commentary because they should realize that they are riding right now one of the most dramatic political waves. I talked to Herb D. Simone, who's now an assistant secretary of transportation. Damn good politician.
Oh, I know. He's from Rhode Island. A nice fellow, Italian fellow.
Yes,
I remember when I was up there with him at Newport.
Oh, he's a tough politician, and one of the savviest I know. I've worked with Herb since college, as a matter of fact.
What did he say? Yeah.
Well, he said it's the most electric impact he's ever seen. He said the only thing that he remembers that has created any kind of a comparable reaction was Ike's going to Korea, and he said that he traveled through New England this weekend, and
did he find reaction as he traveled?
He said the college boy came to take his bags at the airport and said, "Gee, Mr. D. Simone, I didn't think much of the president, but that's a marvelous man you're working for." And he said everywhere he went, people are convinced. He said the dominant impression that he found was that people don't know what this means, but they know that you have a lot more things in the works and under control than they had thought. And as a result, they think there are other things. And
they also probably, the college kids, the young people, this may help us a great deal with them. And you might ask Harris particularly to poll them. The young people think, well, by God, he's really for peace.
Well, that's right. Oh, Herb made this point. He spoke to a couple of college groups, was with a couple of young groups, and he said it was just, they're completely turned on now, where before they were very cool, very disenchanted. He said this has just caught them, and it's caught everybody. He said that it was the only thing people wanted to talk about. The only questions he got, conversation was opened on this basis. So it's had a whale of an impact.
Well, it's probably had more than we realize, Chuck. Who knows? I hope so.
I think it has, Mr. President, as we've talked about. I think it's going to rub off on other things. I'm disappointed with the legislative leaders when they can't see it. But
it eventually ought to affect the stock market. I don't know, but that's affected by other things. Arthur Burns is.
I had two reports today from people who both said that that was strictly Arthur Burns. That the thing would be just sailing if they weren't concerned that interest rates are going to rise.
It'll eventually reflect it, though.
I'm confident.
People just feel better, I think, for a while at least.
We've had
but our legislative leaders, Chuck, they've got to step up and say it. It's our own people. Good God, the Democrats saying it isn't enough. Our legislative leaders have got to step up. That was a shocking performance today. Henry and I and George Schultz and Ehrlichman were saying after, we just shook our heads. It says, my God, they were negative, bitching about the economy and so forth. Didn't say one word about this, God almighty, there's not been an example of presidential leadership for years. They ought to be proud. They ought to be sticking their chests out. They ought to be saying, we showed those bastards.
That's right.
I'd let a few of them know, if I were you.
Well, I have a feeling, yes, I'll do that, Mr. President. I have a feeling that we've been, with some columnists, just using this, just posing the question, when do you remember anything that has been as dramatic and inspirational as this in leadership by a president? Everybody stops to think, and they say, well, you're right. It was always reacting to the Berlin crisis or reacting to Cuban confrontation, or that this really, you have to go back to Ike's time, and you almost have to go back to the Korean trip to find something that really caught the imagination and gave hope in the same way this has. And I think if that starts getting printed and that starts getting talked about, and one place you're going to see this show up, I'm convinced, is at the National Committee meetings in Denver this weekend.
Why don't we get, by God, those people? They ought to just be, to get all of them to talk positively, because Dole should exert more leadership in that respect.
Well, I've talked about, and the thing that I want to do with, that I am doing with him, is sending out a whole packet of material, some stuff on the Democrats, that Kennedy poll, the Gallup poll that shows that 70-odd% of the people, Democratic county leaders, expect either a close race or no better than a 50-50 chance of winning this. God damn, our people ought to get charged.
Yeah, we're not that bad off.
We're damn well off.
And Gallup, of course, course, is playing a little game, playing it the other way. But I think Gallup, somewhere or other, I have a feeling, Chuck, that the Kennedy people are with him. Well, they were in 60, you know. They got to him in 60.
Lou told me he's convinced he knows what Gallup has done. Gallup hasn't.
Oh, did he? You asked him. What did he say?
Yeah, he said he studied his polls, and he's absolutely positive. He said his raw data, he is convinced that his raw data and Gallup's are the same.
Right.
That Gallup is not factoring down adequately the 18 to 20-year-old vote and the black vote. And he said this is the only way that, I mean, if you take raw data of just people's reaction,
well, sure,
Kennedy comes a lot stronger. But if you discount for the blacks that won't vote, for the young that won't register, and Lou said he knocks a quarter off immediately for that. Of the 18 to 21.
That makes you 3 or 4 points right there.
And he said that accounts for the difference. That and the black will give you the difference. And he confirms that Gallup is really kind of very hung up on the war. Maybe the China thing will get to him.
Gallup is probably just Henry was telling me that in that connection that relates to Gallup too. He said that Hugh Sidey told him that the Time Life editors were just beside themselves because they hate me so much. They said, "Why did this son of a bitch have to do this?"
Isn't that typical? God. Well, they'll have to swallow hard and
that's true. The CBS crowd, the NBC crowd, ABC crowd. Although I think you've probably helped with Frank Stanton. If he gets a feeling we might win, he might switch that whole goddamn group.
Well, I sent a long memo to Bob of my meeting with Frank last week with some quotes in it that
I know you told me about it.
Bob might pass on to you. It's kind of it's amusing, and it's a very interesting thing has happened since. CBS has quantitatively and qualitatively given us the most coverage on China. Last night, for example, it was the lead.
Was it positive?
Very positive. On your briefing the congressional leaders. CBS gave us 4 minutes last night as the lead, and the other networks gave us 2 minutes. So you can see that Stanton has passed some orders.
Try. Well, he can do it.
And, I used that same technique as I told you that you'd used with Goodman. I said, I don't think you can do that. He said, God damn right, I'll do it.
That's right.
He just goaded him into it. So
I think we may affect these guys. They'll get a little bit, get their dander up and say, well, by God, we're going to run our networks.
That's right.
And also, the other thing is, these guys can't help but fear. Here's the thing. It's up to us more than anything else. You realize they can't help but fear that the China thing and probably the war thing may mean we'll be in.
Yeah.
And if we're in,
they're scared to death.
They're scared to death because they know we'll turn on them if we know they've tried to screw us.
Well, that Mr. President, in my mind, is the most important psychology at the moment. I think that, and I've read almost everything that I've been able to get my hands on the China thing, and throughout it, there is always the threat of someone saying this. Well, Mary McGrory, our great antagonist last night, was saying how this had enhanced you politically, and
she said, "Oh, the old bitch."
No, it was. I read the column and I got nervous because it was too nice. But
why'd she say it enhanced? Because of the.
Well, her column was very, very complimentary of you, extraordinarily so, in the Star last night, and what a great initiative this was, and how you caught the imagination, and how this had changed your image in the eyes of the people. As I say, it was too favorable. I thought I was reading from the wrong script, but that theme has been coming through an awful lot of the printed material on this. That this will ensure a second term for President Nixon. You see that cropping up through the stories, and these people aren't.
But you realize that the Chinese will probably have, Chuck. They're bound to have. They've got to have some of the, probably Mansfield, maybe Teddy and Muskie and the rest. They'll all visit China too. So,
well, nobody can one up the announcement last week. There's no.
The announcement was the thing, and everybody will think we opened the door for them.
Of course, no.
I'm not so worried about that. I mean, Haldeman was concerned about the fact that maybe they'd go before we did, and I said, "Oh, don't worry about it. Suppose they do." Nobody goes like the president.
No. There's no way they can. The only thing they can do is appear to be kind of petty hopping on the bandwagon. I mean, if candidates start to think it's fashionable to go to China, they're simply going to make themselves look bad.
It's like Muskie going to Moscow.
Sure, exactly. And he came out of that with a black eye. And these fellows would do the same thing. I'd kind of like to see him go. If anything went sour, you could always point a finger at too many Democratic candidates meddling in things they shouldn't meddle in. Or if there were any kind of a problem, you could sort of hang that on.
Well, anyway, let's keep them busy.
Oh, I think you've got them off balance, Mr. President.
It's really had more effect than we thought, hasn't it?
Yeah, I've had many sophisticated people on the Hill and off the Hill tell me that you've undermined the Dove movement. That's just gone.
They have a hell of a time.
They're in a state.
How could they say that I'm a warmonger?
No. This is really cut the ground out. I think we
Vietnam War thing. Now, sure, we're doing our best, but what the hell? And now we don't have to sell out so cheap.
That's right. No, it's had a magnificent effect. We're going to put our minds together to
at the staff meeting tomorrow. I mentioned to Haldeman, and he knows, but Ehrlichman probably was so outraged he will do it. But just say it isn't McGregor's fault, but just say, for Christ's sakes, can't. I remember in the many years, the 8 years that I was in cabinet meetings, and the cabinet's been splendid, incidentally, but in legislative leader meeting and everything else, and always, Eisenhower would come in on, pipsqueak little thing, and everybody, would say, gee, that's great, Mr. President. These bastards never have done a goddamn thing except whine and cry and bitch. Now, believe me, for almost 3 years, and I think McGregor ought to know this, that the whole bunch, bitch, whine, cry, and never say. Now, they should have said. Now, they know that I've known this for 3 months, taken all this heat, and what the hell do they do? Just bitch. And I think you ought to let them know that tomorrow. Will you do that? Hit them hard on it and say, now, for Christ's sakes, what's the matter with him? Get a column written on it.
And we should, because we need to.
It's ridiculous.
Put a little bit of life into those guys.
That's right.
They can help us if they'll get.
That's right. They ought to get off the defensive.
Yeah. No, as Republicans, they're so damn used to it.
I know.
We ought to get out there.
Oh, no, the point is that they think we always have to go ask for their support and beg them and this and that. Well, at the present time, we may not want to ask for their support. They're not much of a help.
Well, let's see if we can't kick them in the fannies and get them going.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President.
Hello?
I have Mr. Rebozo for the president.
Okay, give it to me.
All right. That's Mr. Rebozo.
Mr. Rebozo.
Señor Sanchez.
¿Cómo está, señor?
¿Cómo está, viejo?
Por favor, ¿le importaría llamar al presidente dentro de una hora?
¿Cómo?
Llamarlo al presidente dentro de una hora.
¿Quiero que yo lo llamo?
Sí, en una hora.
Bien. En una hora, ¿no?
Sí.
Dentro de una hora, pero en una hora.
En una hora.
Una hora,
Sí, señor. A las 8 menos cuarto.
Muy bien.
Muchas gracias, caballero.
Yeah.
Why do I tell you this? You get tired of hearing me say this. I know you do. This is the most fantastic reaction
Yeah, what do you find?
ever.
These characters don't know what to do with it, do they?
No.
Even Jack Knight likes it.
I know. When I see you, I talk to you about it. It's unreal. Unbelievable.
Really?
Really is. Greatest reaction. Very nice. The reaction to this situation.
Where do you find it from, baby? What kind of people?
Everywhere. I haven't heard anything contrary. It's the element of surprise in addition to the sudden stark realization that, why the hell didn't we all think this way before? suddenly makes sense that the president decides to do something about it. And the way we and the manner the whole thing was kept under wraps is unreal. You can't get away with something like this. It's once in a lifetime.
But the fact that it struck him so unexpectedly.
Unexpectedly, and suddenly, even those who might otherwise have thought that it wasn't so good idea, recognize the importance of that fact. It's beautiful. That's great. That's good.
Tricia, please. Julie? What?
The southwest gate.
Oh, shit. Okay. Out. Hello.
Stout is on duty. Did you want to Stout?
Yeah.
All right. And the Nixon has gone to the south round, not out. All right.
Hello. Yes, Mr. Would you order a car up? I want to go out to the ball game. Yes, Mr.
Yes, please.
Did you get me Mr. High Romney's ROMNES of the American Telephone and Telegraph Company, please?
Yes, Mr. President. Mark.